Steve, it's been 6 years, which is crazy to believe, since the pandemic. And when this document started coming out, there are emails showing Dr. Fauci trying to basically bully or intimidate scientists who were floating the lab leak theory early on by threatening to pull their funding, or if they changed their opinion that this didn't come from a lab, that it was coming from natural origins, that they would then get millions of dollars in grant money because, of course, he was in charge of all of that for research in institutions across the country. So he was basically bribing people to steer away from the lab leak theory because he was funding this in the Wuhan lab and other labs all around the world.
You know, Katie, no exaggeration, Fauci is the most monstrous and malicious figure in all of American history. Think of the damage wrought by him. So he lied, he criminally lied, perjured himself under oath to cover up the fact that he was secretly using our money to fund the very lab that created this epidemiological dirty bomb that was unleashed upon the world. And think about the further sequence. What did Fauci then do? Rather than trying to confront this concocted virus as a medical professional, instead, he launched a massive propaganda campaign to use fear and panic to compel the American people into submission to his ludicrous edicts, so that he could become effectively a dictator, at least for a time, over the United States. It's hard to think of a worst series of actions from a single individual in all of U.S. history. Dr. Fauci did more damage to this country. He caused more misery, more death, more financial catastrophe than any foreign adversary of this country has ever dreamed of inflicting upon the United States.
Well, and then he went out of his way to censor writers, reporters, and whistleblowers who dared to put accurate facts that were coming from the intelligence community about this being a lab theory, a lab leak on the internet. I mean, he worked with Facebook on the censorship industrial complex when it came to the truth about COVID, and a lot of that happened for years and years. But Dave, go ahead.
This is a really important point, though. Is China culpable? Of course, massively so. I mean, you know, they unleashed really a biological Pearl Harbor upon America and the world. However, we can't get past the fact that China was facilitated by Anthony Fauci, both in originating the virus itself and in then covering up that very cooperation. So we can't escape the fact that a very senior, very powerful American was hand in glove with the Chinese Communist Party in creating this havoc for the world. And then even worse, I believe, even worse than that, Fauci helped create a panic, a massive overreaction to that virus, which brought the global economy to its knees, which still has lasting damage until this day, for example, for children and their educational attainment. I mean, the ancillary effects just go on and on, the terrible, malicious ripples from these acts of treachery from Tony Fauci. So are the Chinese culpable? Of course they are. But I put Fauci on the exact same plane of guilt as the Chinese Communist Party.